And welcome in. Late Kick is live. It is Thursday night, September 9th, the year of our Lord 2021. We're jam-packed. We are just hours away from the start of Week 2 college football 2021. For my money, a very underrated weekend. Several of the games that are the reason for this weekend being underrated, we're going to touch on tonight. We've also got to do something that, to be honest with you, I didn't think we were going to be doing so early in the year. We've got an update, a mood tracker. And this mood tracker has shifted, and it has shifted radically over the past week, that, of course, being the LSU Tigers fan base. Nick Saban, none too pleased this week. All they did was skull drag Miami 44-13, but he's got reason to feel the way he does. And some of you think it's an act. I don't. We will dive into that momentarily. Also, going to add a best bet to the Ramen Noodle Express. Not going to make you wait till the end of the show. The tease is over. Director Colin got my ear the other day. He said, shame on you. Slapped me on the wrist. So we're going to lead the show with it in just a couple of minutes. And also, as I said, several more Week 2 thoughts. You know it's a big weekend for the ACC. There are a couple of games. NC State at Miami, or at Mississippi State's one of them. Pitt at Tennessee is one of them. If they drop both of those in conjunction with the disaster that was Week 1, not a good look for the ACC. They need those. They're favored. Small, but they're favored in both of those games. At Late Kick Josh, Twitter and Instagram is where you need to be. A reminder, twofold. Number one, we got the super secret off the record. We can't talk about it, but I'll do it anyway. Friday night gambling chat that happens over on Instagram Live. And there is a challenge that has been laid out. You heard it this morning if you listen to the Late Kick Extra podcast. It just so happens that, again, we're going to be in the same town as College Game Day this Saturday. After the show tonight, we're going to pack our bags. We're going to head up to Ames, Iowa tomorrow for the Iowa State game. And as I said the other night, it would just be unfortunate if you turned on College Game Day Saturday, that does not air on our network, but another network, and you saw a bunch of Pate State posters behind the set. Wouldn't that be a shame? And it was equally as big a shame that I tweeted out the high-resolution images of the logo so you could download them, but also a more direct challenge. Any of you who actually pulls that off and can prove it to me is getting something for free. Not available to the public. We don't sell them. Contractually, we can't sell them right now, but we got them, and you will have them. So anyone who pulls it off, and important follow-up here, can prove to me that you did it, there will be something coming your way. Okay, before we start tonight, let's start on best bets. The Ramen Noodle Express, I've already handed out Memphis and Oklahoma State and Texas State. We're going to show you that graphically in just a second, so you don't have to follow along that quickly. So we got Memphis. I'm going to wait for the picture to stop flickering because that would get me ripped in the comment section. Okay, here we go. So we got Memphis -4. We got Oklahoma State -12. We've got Texas State +1. We have Vandy. It's an organic cough. It's tough to say it out loud, but yes, we are taking Vandy +7. And also another bet that we are adding to the Ramen Noodle Express tonight, Oregon and Ohio State. We are taking that one to go over the total at 63.5. Also like it at 64, but we really want it at 63.5. So those are the ones that are on the record. It's not always a perfect number every week. I don't just automatically put out 5. So I can tell you confidently, because I've seen the numbers, we have several other games that are leaned that I have not moved on yet. It would greatly behoove you. You know how frequently I like to use that word. Confluence and behoove works its way into every single show, but it would behoove you greatly to make sure you're checking out the super secret Can't Talk About It Publicly Late Night Gambling Chat tomorrow night on Instagram Live. That is our working title right now. I don't know what the acronym is. It's like the whole alphabet. Also, Friday Night Lines is a really good name. But anyway, there could be more handed out, is what I'm telling you. Could happen on Twitter 15 minutes after the show ends tonight. Line movement is always happening. The numbers are always getting refreshed, and new information is always coming in. How many of you knew that JT Daniels probably wouldn't play for Georgia on Sunday? See what I mean? So that kind of stuff happens all the time. So that is where we are right now. Those are the 5 if you're seeing them on the screen, and I will read those again. Memphis, Texas State, Ohio State over, Oklahoma State, and Vanderbilt. All right, let's dive into the actual show tonight. And we have to do a segment that is just a staple of Late Kick in the spring and really after the national championship game, but before signing day, we talk about it a lot. And we certainly do it over the summer months. But rarely are we doing what we're about to do this early in the year, because rarely have moods changed so rapidly and so violently as they have in this case, this early in the year. But it's happening, so we got to talk about it. Colin, a natural endpoint for you right here. Let's talk mood tracker, and let's talk the LSU Tiger fan base, because I think this has radically shifted just in the past week. And you may look, if you were paying attention in the preseason, if you were immersed in preview magazine culture, and you heard the supreme confidence from down in Tigerland, and it was on full display, you may think to yourself, if you're just a casual college football fan, you may say, how can they be going from confident to radically shifting on anything after just 4 quarters of football? Well, it's about being scorned. That's what it's about. That is the mood, by the way, of LSU Tiger Nation at the moment. It is scorned. And if you want to know how it can change that rapidly, all you have to do is watch any cheating movie or listening to any cheating song in the very town that we reside in would probably do the trick for you too. Because you've seen the movies before. The movie where there's probably some infidelity, but then there's a makeup. And the couple chooses to move past it. So you've hurt me, but we have reconciled. You have promised me that you have seen the error of your ways and you're a changed person. And so we're going to move on together hand in hand. And there's still a hole there in my heart, but we're going to try and fill it, and we're going to try and bridge it, and we're going to try and move on. You see, there's a lot of goodwill in that formula, and there's a lot of mutual trust, and there's a lot of working together that has to happen. But if one side can meet the other side in the middle, then we can move forward. But what happens when all of a sudden your guy comes home, 3 weeks later, random Tuesday night, and you smell an odd perfume on the shirt collar? Well, how radically would things change? Because that's kind of what happened with LSU and Ed Orgeron. Last year sucked. It was just bad. And it all but erased the memory of 2019. Now, in reality, that doesn't happen. You'll always have 2019. But as it relates to Ed Orgeron, people quickly forgot about 2019 when they thought about Ed Orgeron. And last year was a disaster, but understandably so, there were a lot of people in that fan base that were willing to, because of how magic 2019 was and how unwinnable and untenable in many ways 2020 was, they were willing to dismiss it. No one wants to talk about it anymore as long as you rectify the situation. There's a hole in our heart from 2020, but it's okay as long as you can rectify the situation, as long as you made proper hires, which you told me you have, as long as you have a proper plan in place, which you've told me you have, as long as we've got the good enough roster, which signing day and recruiting rankings and services, and you have told me we have, then we're moving forward, right? Okay, but what happens when it all goes up in smoke? Then all of a sudden you have a radical shift in mood. That's what's happening at LSU right now. You got to understand something. This is a proud fan base. They are fiercely loyal. They are passionate almost to a fault. And if you're selling them something that they believe in, they'll fight for you. Even if you lose a game, they will fight for you as long as you're selling them something that coincides with what they believe LSU football is supposed to be about. It's not about winning every game. They want to. They expect to. But it's not about winning every game and as soon as we drop one, we turn on you. That's not it. As long as you are embodying something that LSU is supposed to be, they're going to fight for you. But I'm going to tell you what they're not going to tolerate at all. And they're done tolerating it right now. They're not going to tolerate you telling them you fixed all the cracks in the dam, and then you show up week 1 and you find out all you did was slap duct tape on the dam. And the minute UCLA applied an ounce of water pressure, here come the leaks. And then here comes the drip, drip, drip burst, and then all of a sudden we get embarrassed on the West Coast. They're not going to handle you getting out physicaled, out coached, out adjusted. They're not going to handle looking like we're getting out athleted against a team we know good and well is full of guys that couldn't have gotten an LSU offer, because that's what happened last week. They're not going to tolerate that. And I'll tell you what else they're not going to tolerate. They're not going to tolerate never having their team on the field, either on Saturday or in practice, because half of them are in the training room. I know you can't assign specific blame injury to injury, but when you have a chronic problem, it is a strength and conditioning issue. It is something that has to be overhauled. So there's top-down problems there right now, and I haven't even mentioned anything off the field. I haven't mentioned any board of trustee members that have had bridges burned with Ed Orgeron. I haven't mentioned how, maybe the university's tried to help him out a little bit and he's turned a cold shoulder to it. There's an attitude that you can have when you're a winner, and there's an attitude you can have, and there's an amount of baggage that will be tolerated when you're producing. When you're not producing, you can't do the stuff Ed Orgeron does right now, and you can't run the kind of program he's running right now. So there's an interesting month ahead with LSU, because I am telling you rapidly has the support evaporated there. Rapidly. I know a bunch of LSU folks. I reached out to several of them today to kind of bounce my feeling off of them. They wanted me to go harder than this. They just want to outright torch and pitchfork that whole place right now. You know my thoughts on hot seat talk. I don't really do it. But I will tell you, they got McNeese this Saturday. They've got Central Michigan. You're looking at the roster if you're watching on YouTube or you're looking at the schedule. And then I want you to think about this stretch. If you're listening on the podcast, just close your eyes unless you're driving. And I want you to picture what you think LSU football is right now. Chronic problems on the line of scrimmage, totally undisciplined, can't stay healthy, don't have enough consistent and dependable speed on the field at receiver, which I didn't think I was going to be saying. Cannot trust the tailbacks. One of them's not even academically eligible right now. And so there's a whole bunch of question marks about the team. And you tell me how you think the stretch of at Mississippi State, Auburn, at Kentucky, Florida, at Ole Miss, at Bama, Arkansas, UL Monroe, and Texas A&M is going to turn out. If you are of the opinion that Ed Orgeron is not the right guy for this job, that stretch will take care of it for you. I am of the opinion that that stretch is going to force a move in Baton Rouge. That is my current opinion. And yeah, I know we're one game into the season, but that wasn't a case last week of UCLA just precision-style out-executing LSU. They lined up, and if we were to have taken the jerseys off of them, and we would have just put generic garbage bags on both of them, you could not have picked the SEC team out. Or if you did, you would have been wrong. You would have picked the team that ended up wearing the sissy blue. That's what you would have picked as the SEC team. LSU folks aren't going to tolerate that. LSU folks shouldn't tolerate that. Do you know what kind of investment there is down there, both emotionally and financially? Do you know? If you haven't ever been there, I can tell you, it's immense. It's immeasurable in many ways. It's incredible, but also if you're the leader inside that kind of culture, they expect a return because they look at you and they're dead right when they say it, and they say, what do you need that we haven't given you? Over and above what you need, actually. What do you need to win that you don't have in abundance? Ed Orgeron cannot answer that question right now. He's got everything he needs in abundance, well above and beyond what 98% of the sport has. You can't get pushed around by UCLA. That can't ever happen. They tolerated 12 months of incompetence over there because they thought there were external factors that could be used as an excuse last year. They are not tolerating 24 months in a row of it. I don't think they are. Okay, let's move on. Rare to have a mood tracker this early in the season. How about Academy Sports? It's going to be a great weekend. There's a lot of on-campus tailgating to be had. I'm headed up to Iowa State, and I cannot tell you how many invites we've had to various tailgates. Most of you are encouraging me to participate in activity that could get me fired, but I understand it's in good faith, it's in good spirits. But I am on the clock Saturday, although it may not look like it. I am on the clock, but you're not. And you can do whatever you want to. Just keep it in the lines and keep it legal. But before you do any of that, you need gear. You need the canopies, you need the grills, you need the jerseys to put on your back, and whatever you need, Academy Sports and Outdoors has got it. You guys reside in the Big 12. They are the official outdoor provider of the Big 12, as well as the SEC, but most importantly, of Late Kick Live itself. The only partner that we have agreed to have on this show is Academy Sports and Outdoors. And if you don't feel like fighting the traffic, or you don't live near one, that's fine. Academy.com. I have one note for this entire ad read, and it says Academy.com. They sent me a script. I said, I'll be good. They also, full disclosure, when we were negotiating with Academy, they asked if I would wear an Academy shirt on the show every night. And I said, that is a great request. Here's what you need to know. If I wear anything other than a plain hobo, flood victimish white t-shirt look on my show, the crowd will revolt. And they will be like a lot of the ESPN viewers are with Applebee's right now. Applebee's is playing one of the worst commercials I've ever seen. And people are revolting against Applebee's. People would revolt if you took the white tee away. And so they didn't. Academy, much to my surprise, and much to the opposite side of how these sorts of things normally work, they said, you know what, we'll trust you. Even though we're spending our money, we'll trust you. And so you guys have responded. I mean, we keep getting screenshots of people